when I eat like excessively bad like that, I'll start breaking out, whether it's like on my face or back, and it's basically, it's an inflammatory condition. I just inflame myself when I eat toxic crap, you know, and they feel horrible afterwards.
And he probably mentioned it, but I did find it strange when someone mentioned it to me that we're the only mammal that drinks another mammal's milk.
Yeah, if you think, yeah, people are like, oh, what, I need to, you know, my kids need to drink milk, or I need to drink milk, or my bones are going to crack, or like humans didn't start consuming milk until 5,000 years ago. Drinking milk is a fairly new phenomenon. So what did people do for 2,495,000 years? They weren't drinking milk, you know. Back then, definitely food had more nutrients in it. You know, your greens probably had more calcium in it. Probably fruits and vegetables have more calcium in it. Yeah, obviously you need calcium, you need magnesium, you need vitamin D. It's everything. It's not just like I'm going to have calcium without the magnesium and vitamin D. I mean, all three of those micronutrients, you know, work together. But, you know, typically now a lot of your food on the grocery store shelves, it's got the same calorie content, but it's lacking all of the vital micronutrients. You know, I think like, when we're talking about the tomato, like the typical commercial tomato you're going to get at Publix now or Kroger or whatever, they come off the field like bright green. They actually gas them to turn them red, kind of ship it to market, and it stays red a lot longer. There's actually a whole book about the modern tomato, but it's actually got more sodium, less vitamin C than a tomato 50 years ago, but it's cheaper and get it to market, it stays fresher longer.
Well, it's like everything. It's like chickens grow twice as fast or twice as big in twice the time. You know,
yeah, I remember I was there this past winter. They came out with the genetically modified salmon. So like a salmon would typically take, they say, maybe 2 years to get to a harvestable size. The genetically modified salmon's like blowing up the harvestable size in like 6 months. It's like, what's the long-term health effects from consuming? You know, and they're like, they named it Frankenfish. Like, do you really want to consume this thing? Here's what it's going to do to you, you know? And there's a big scare that like these genetically modified salmon get out into the food chain or out in nature with the regular salmon can completely devastate the natural salmon supply. It could definitely potentially happen. I don't know if I think there's some kind of injunction or whatever to prevent this company from selling these salmon on the market, but it was actually put out there. You know, if a big company's got enough lobbying power, they can persuade the FDA to do whatever. Hey, why don't you work on approve our genetically modified fish, you know? And that's the thing with these seeds too. You could have like one farmer on one side of the road who's all organic, and farmer over here, you know, farmer B is using Monsanto, you know, genetically modified, you know, Roundup resistant seeds. His seeds blow over to the other farmer, you know, across the road, contaminate this guy's field, and then his shit's not organic anymore. You know, it's pretty crazy. So, and then like Monsanto, they've even gone so far too, where I think they actually make farmers rebuy their seeds in the spring from them. Just to kind of, basically their seeds are like all patented, or I wouldn't say they go so far as they say they have serial numbers on them, but it's almost like a controlled item where the farmers are not allowed to reuse their own seeds. They have to go back to Monsanto the next year and rebuy new genetically modified seeds. You know, it's pretty crazy. It's all a matter of like controlling food supply, you know, making money.
If you watch the documentary, most of y'all have seen it. Yeah, your Food Inc. They talk all about it. I mean, it's
scary stuff. I mean, there's some other ones out there. King Corn's another movie. I haven't seen it, but basically like how much you got all this government subsidized corn out there, right? And a lot of it's genetically modified, and they're taking it and making high fructose corn syrup out of it, which is now in your, you know, Coca-Cola actually used to be cane sugar, but it's not anymore. It's high fructose corn syrup. Or you go to buy a candy bar that used to be made out of confectioner's sugar. It's high fructose corn syrup, you know? And make you have like,
have you seen commercials that it's really good for you?
What now?
You know, they have little commercials that the corn.
They're rebranding it as corn sugar. Yeah, they're trying to rebrand.
Really good. Yeah, they're marketing it.
Yeah, they're trying to rebrand it as corn sugar.
Yep.
You know. So, you know, it's the thing. Like with us here, like we're not trying to sell you a product, maybe such as a whey protein, but with all this other stuff, though, we're just trying to make you guys more aware and change the way that you eat. You know, and think about it. Like I said, food's fuel for your body. Put good, high quality chow down your mouth. You're gonna feel good as a result. Like I said, when I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, feel great, WOD times are good, strength's up, energy's up there. When I get off track, I feel like crap, you know? And then when you feel really good, next time you go to have that pizza at Mellow Mushroom, you're gonna think twice about it, like, is it really worth it? You know? So like now I probably got pizza reserved for like 2 days out of the year. I'm either gonna run 100 miles or that pizza, or a 50K and all the pizza, but I'm not gonna have it on a weekend as part of my cheating, you know, and all that. And you know, the other thing too is everybody's gonna have a cheat meal, but like just be conscientious about what you cheat with. Instead of going out and having the pizza from Mellow Mushroom with all the beer, go to Twisted Taco and have some, you know, fajitas on corn tortillas and NorCal margarita, which is, you know, low on the gluten and all that, going to be a lot better than the flour tortillas or the flour on the bread at the mellow mushroom and all that. It'll definitely help minimize the damage. It's still not athlete food. You're not going to put up any WOD PRs having fajitas on tortillas the night before. I kind of figured that out a week or so ago.
And mellow mushroom has like gluten-free pizza now.
Yeah, it's probably brown rice flour, I bet, right? Yeah.
It's good though.
I heard it's good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But I mean, if you go to mellow mushroom, you're on pizza and you want to minimize the damage, try to gluten-free
There's
pizza.
there's a new chain in Miami. Well, I don't know if they're moving out yet, but they call it Power Pizza. And all the
Oh, really? But that's the whole thing with like flour and all that. All those flour is hard to digest. It's hard on the gut, which is going to inflame the body. Whereas brown rice flour, it's definitely easier to digest. Same thing with corn tortillas. Corn tortillas are more easily digestible than flour tortillas. Like I said, when you take this stuff, like you hear about people all the time, like, oh, I ate this and my freaking gut all bloated out. I'm like, yeah, it's because your GI tract got inflamed for whatever it is you just ate. So it's just like I've just become very aware of this stuff over the last couple of years. I wish I knew now, or I wish I knew 15 years ago what I knew now. It would have been life changing. What's cool is like, me and Chris say with like a lot of the young kids in training here, like 13-year-olds, 15-year-olds. God, like I wish I had CrossFit and Paleo when I was that age. I was a little squirrely guy all through high school. That would have been life changing. So, you guys have any other questions?
I feel like it can be really intimidating to hear 2 hours of things that you've always known as true and they're no longer true. So tell me if this isn't like a good starting point. Avoid gluten, avoid dairy, and what was my other thing? No. Avoid gluten and avoid dairy. And what's another thing to do, like, while you figure everything else out?
Well, there's another diet. It's called the anti-inflammatory diet. It's a lot less strict than paleo. Like I said, like brown rice is okay. So certain things it's very similar to paleo, but like I said, it's primarily a grain-free and gluten-free diet. And then obviously trying to stay away from processed foods and whole natural foods too. You start looking at processed food. There's 20 ingredients in there, half of them you can't pronounce. You're like, what the hell is this stuff? And it's chemicals. We're trying to keep that stuff out of your body. Obviously, for those of you guys that are doing the paleo challenge, you just need to man up and get on with it, right? So you don't want to like.
Is this Dirty Dozen list of things we should eat?
Let's see this year.
Last page there?
These are things that you should definitely try to prioritize eating. And if you look at it, most of those are things that like have like thin skin on. We always hear about the spinach and the E. coli and all that stuff, so I definitely want to try that. Go organic and all that stuff.
I was just so hungry.
I mean, it's food supply is mass produced and brought from one side of we got stuff coming up from Mexico or whatever. Do you think like they really care about health standards? They're sending up to America? No, they just want to make a buck. We're like a lot of people down too. Like we're Whole Foods, you can find stuff that's all grown in the southeast. It's regional, local, whatever. A lot of people go to farmers markets on the weekend now. There's one in various square it's every Saturday. It's at least 1 or 2 Saturdays a month. There's one in Single Springs now. You always hear about the DeKalb County Farmers Market, so a lot of people are just doing that. I mean, I don't have time to do that, but probably definitely a good place to get some good buys on things too. But yeah, for those of you guys that are basically, I'll kind of leave you this. If you're doing the paleo challenge, like I said, a minimum of 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body weight on your body fat test. It's a really good starting point. Like I said, me and Chris saw way too many people burn off a ton of muscle last go around.
Hey, I won the paleo challenge. Yeah, but you lost 6 pounds of muscle in 6 weeks. Good job. We're going to be counterproductive.
So we don't want to do that. Muscle's hard to get, so keep it when you can. But like I said, getting your protein intake up there will help prevent that from happening. And like I said, with the carbs and fat, like I said, plug those numbers into the zone calculator, see what that gets you. Establish your baseline, ride with it a couple weeks, see how you look, feel, perform on the WODs, whatever, and adjust it. If you don't feel you're losing fat enough, cut your carbs back some more, cut your fat back, whatever. I still advise keeping the fat up and just mainly tweaking your carbohydrates. So you want to try to show your body how to learn how to burn fat as an energy source, because there's plenty of people out there who are on fat-free diets who are fat, right? Basically, like I said, like you could be on a high carbohydrate diet and be fat and have high cholesterol, because what happens is all those extra carbohydrates are converting the triglycerides, raising your blood sugar levels, converting the triglycerides, and it's converting the body fat. All right, so it's something definitely to keep in mind with that. There's something else I was going to say on that too. Like the whole endurance community per se, like, oh, I got to carb up and eat a box of spaghetti before my 10-miler tomorrow or whatever. It's BS. Like your body can only hold so much glycogen. When you eat, like I said, when you eat carbohydrates, it converts the glucose travels through your blood, fills your muscles with glycogen, that's what powers you through a workout, right? Your muscles can only hold so much glycogen. So if you're eating 400 grams of carbohydrates in a serving and you can only hold 200, which for me, like I can basically eat 150 carbohydrates per day and get up and run 10 miles on a Saturday morning without having anything basically on that sort of glycogen I had the day before. So if I'm getting by on 150 grams of carbohydrates, let's say it takes me 200 carbohydrates typically in a day to keep my muscles completely loaded with glycogen, right? And all of a sudden I'm carb loading and having 600 grams of carbohydrates. Well, there's an excess of 400 there, 400 grams, 4 calories per gram, that's 1,600 calories right there, which is almost a half pound of fat. It's going to go somewhere. Completely unnecessary. It's more, if you're going to do some kind of sustained endurance event, it's a matter of refueling along the way, not like, a good example, like I'm going to drive from Atlanta to Los Angeles. I don't put all my fuel in my car in Atlanta and drive to Los Angeles or freaking leapfrog out there and refuel along the way. Same thing if I'm running a 50K or 100 miler, I don't take in all my fuel right at the beginning and try to get that whole distance. Like every, hour and a half or two, I'm eating, 40, 50 grams of some kind of carbohydrate and refueling along the way. So, like I said, all those excess carbohydrates will get converted to triglycerides, potentially get stored as body fat, and raise your cholesterol.